They've won Tonys and Oscars and Emmys and Grammys. There's no red carpet 'cause they're home in their jammies. From Melrose Place to Broadway to Janeway and her crew, let Seth and James bring all the stars to you.
Anywho,
they're entertaining everyone, so who's gonna grouse? Just sit right back and you'll hear some tales on Stars in the House. Who is that singing? Hi, everybody. Liz Callaway here. Welcome to Stars in the House. Now, you are probably wondering, where are Seth and James? Well, they've been hosting Stars in the House almost daily since March. And so we basically forced them to take a vacation. So I thought, before I do anything, with Seth and James vacationing, I hope you don't grouse. Just sit right back, 'cause I am your host of Stars in the House. Thank you. I am very, very happy to be guest hosting tonight. I have appeared on Stars in the House many, many times, but this is my first time being a host, and actually, I'm really nervous, but I've brought some really great friends with me, so I think they're going to calm me down. If this is your first time watching Stars in the House, this is a daily live show that started back basically when the pandemic hit and everything shut down. And Seth and James created this show to raise money for the Actors Fund, which is an organization that is very near and dear to my heart. The Actors Fund does so much for so many people in the entertainment business, and it's not just actors, it's people behind the scenes, it's the doormen, it's the makeup people, it's everyone you can think of, and not just in New York, all across the country. And since this has started, I have the total here. We have raised $673,240 so far for the Actors Fund, which is just amazing. And that's really why we're here tonight, to try and raise more money. I think I see the light at the end of the tunnel. There's a lot to hope for, but it's going to be a long winter, and the Actors Fund can really, really use your help. So anything at all that you can contribute. I think the minimum is $5, but every dollar helps. So if you're able to help a little bit, what you can do is you can send your donation to StarsInTheHouse.com, or you can text it to Fund 2020 and to 56512. I think it's underneath, it's scrolling, so that probably will make more sense than what I just told you. But anyway, and if you contribute and then you forward your contribution to, let me say, donations@StarsInTheHouse.com. So forward your donation to donations@StarsInTheHouse.com, and either I will read it on air or one of my special guests tonight will read it on air. So thank you for joining me tonight. When I was asked to do this, I was basically given carte blanche to do any kind of show I wanted. And I thought, wouldn't it be amazing to do a baby reunion? There's been so many wonderful reunions of shows and TV shows that I've watched on Stars in the House. And I thought, I want to do a reunion too. Baby is probably the most important show of my life. And I wrote to my friends and to see if they could join me, and happily they said yes. And so I would like to start by introducing my first two guests, who are the composer and the lyricist, as well as director of Baby. Please welcome my friends David Shire and Richard Maltby Jr. Yay!
Hello, hello, yay,
Hi,
yay, yay.
Oh my God, I think it's the first time I've seen your faces since March. We've been FaceTime.
I know.
And I'm so happy that you could be here. I'm so happy to have someone to talk to instead of just talking to everyone at home.
I think this reunion is just a great idea.
Well, it makes me very, very happy. We opened December 4th, 1983, which is hard to imagine. And I know you guys worked on this show for a long time. Tell us a little bit about how'd you get the idea and why did you write this show? I'm glad you did, but why?
Well, David has a wonderful story about where the idea came from, and it's true.
Take it away, David.
We were many years ago when you were a little girl. I was driving around Napa Valley with my brother-in-law at the time, Francis Coppola.
Oh.
And Richard and I had been looking for an idea for a large-scale show, as we always have been. And I said to Francis, who's a big fan of musicals and has directed operas and directed the movie version of Finian's Rainbow, I said, what do you think we should write our next musical about? And he said, well, seeing that everybody, this is the period when Broadway had become Andrew Lloyd Webberized, and every show was big and bigger and bigger. And he said, why don't you write a show, a very rather intimate show about something personal, based on something personal that happened to you? Like, what is the most emotionally charged experience you've had in recent years? And without even having to think about it, I said the birth of my first son, Matthew. And
a symphony orchestra went, it was in the car.
So I came back to New York all excited. I said to Richard, I got this great idea for a show. We're going to write a show based on the birth of my son. And Richard said, that's a terrible idea.
I was going to say, Richard, what was your reaction to that?
It was a terrible idea. I thought, okay, he's in California. He's gone bonkers. What does he know anymore?
So Richard went on.
Then, yeah.
You take it from here.
Well, it was the the end of the 70s, and something had happened, and I just thought it was funny. There were a lot of movies, sort of new wave movies from England. They were all about the new way of having relationships, like Darling and Georgie Girl, where all the relationships were very fluid. You were kind of together, you were kind of not together, and everything. And there were like 5 or 6 big movies that all were very modern in their, kind of the new way of having a relationship. And I thought it was funny because every one of them, in the last 20 minutes, the heroine got pregnant. And I thought it was sort of funny because I thought, well, it must be that the writers can't think of anything else to do except for the woman to get pregnant. Then it hit me that in fact, you can be, relationships can be really fluid. You can be this and this, but a baby is reality. With a baby, bonk, you stop. That's real. So who is this person that I'm involved with? Who is this? What is my relationship to that other person? It suddenly becomes real, and it can't be sort of glossed over as some sort of new thing that we'll figure it out. So from that, it came that what happens when a baby is introduced into a relationship is the relationship changes. As soon as there's a reality of a child, of a baby, you have to come to terms with who this person is that's your partner, and so babies change relationships. Babies make you confront what your relationship is, and suddenly it was a very deeply emotional story, a series of emotional stories, because what a baby does is it actually makes you confront the absolute essence of what ties you to the other person.
You know, it was something, right, Richard, that I always felt about the two of you in your songs is you, and it's not just with Baby. I remember I first, fell in love with your songs with Starting Here, Starting Now, back when I was in high school. But you write about the human experience. You write about things that, haven't necessarily been musicalized yet. But so you have this idea, and then you think David is crazy, and then you go, oh, here's our way in. How long a period of time did it take you to actually then create this show? Because one of the things that's extraordinary about Baby, years later, looking at this, it was a very original show. And there aren't that many shows that are completely original ideas. So how long did this take you guys?
Well, it took us about 5 years all told from the first germ of it, which I think probably came along around Starting Here, Shire, which was even before Ain't Misbehavin'. And somewhere in there, the idea had started, and it germinated. And I was going to write the book at first, and then we decided that I needed someone else, preferably a woman, because what do I know? And
and is that when Sybil Pearson?
Well, she was about the fourth or fifth. We had two actual writers who were with us at one time or another. Susan Yankowitz, who was a very good writer. John, the guy who wrote the screenplay to Silence of the Lambs, was with us for a very short time. He produced one line that remained.
Which one?
It was the "You're shooting blanks," the biggest laugh in the show. the only line that we kept of his. But he wasn't there for very long. We did have a really funny run-in with Jules Feiffer.
Jules Feiffer, right?
Jules Feiffer had been recommended as somebody who might want to write. He was writing plays at the time, so we met him and we talked about it. We played songs and everything, and he said, "Well, I don't think I'm the writer for you." He said, "You have to understand that I just finished a play, and in the last scene, the couple throw the baby out the window." And I thought that was a happy ending. So, so I just don't think I'm your guy.
That was a very different show. We would not be here on Stars in the House.
We approached Neil Simon at one point because I had read an article in the paper where an interview with him where he said that he did a lot of his writing and got a lot of his ideas while he was waiting in his dentist's office to have lots of work on his teeth. So when we called him, he said, my teeth are fixed now.
That was it.
Yeah.
A nice polite refusal.
Then our producer, Jim Freiberg, found this play by Sybil Pearson, and she seemed to be the right sensibility for us. She was doing a play that was produced at the Manhattan Theater Club with called Sally and Marcia, that had Bernadette Peters and Christine Baranski.
Oh, right.
And that was taking up her time. So we had to wait like 6 months while that play went on before she was free enough to start working on it. And then we did, and then we had our team. But it took us a long time. And then once she joined us, I think it was still a couple of years before we actually opened.
There's a handful of people out there who know the story of how I got involved with you guys, because it was a very unusual story. I think my first Broadway show was Merrily We Roll Along. I was cast as the Swing, and I got a call about during the second week of rehearsal to audition for this new off-Broadway musical at the Public Theater called Gallery that Ed Kleban was writing and Richard was directing. And I went down on my lunch break. Even though I knew I had a job, I went down on my lunch break and I auditioned for the show because I thought it would be a good experience. And Richard, do you remember what I
I remember vividly. You were wearing like these overalls. You, if you wanted to be as unsexy and as stylish as you could possibly be. No, you had these sort of work overalls and sneakers, flat. You kind of planted your feet flat, and then you started to sing, and you sang "Be a Lion."
I did.
Goes up and up and up and up.
That was my go-to audition song.
It was heaven on earth. About halfway through it, as the melody went up, I was sitting next to Bill Elliott, who's our musical director. I just grabbed him by the knee and said, "Ah!" As that voice just went and went. People out there, she doesn't have a break. She goes from the low register to the top register. There is no break. It is the most thrilling sound ever. Oh no! It just, I had never heard anything like it. And you had the part that minute.
Well, I remember you came up
a little while, but yeah.
You came up to me and you told me that I was perfect for this show you were writing about a pregnant teenager. So I remember that, and I end up not doing the show. I end up staying with Marilee. But by the way, here's just a little bit of trivia for everyone at home. Who played my audition for Gallery, Be a Lion? There was someone, a very fantastic composer now, who was the audition pianist. So I'm going to let you think about that, and then I'm going to give you the answer to the trivia question in a little bit. But that was it just occurred to me.
That was a star-studded little gathering that was
it
down
certainly
there.
Was. And then I met David for the first time.
When I came down to you were doing your nightclub act, Frank Lesser.
Right. It was called More of Lesser at the St. Regis Hotel. It was Bobby Morris and myself and Lynn Thigpen and Regina O'Malley and I'm forgetting her name. Wonderful Lee Berry, wonderful singer. And I spotted David in the audience. Right.
What?
I spotted you in the audience during the show. And I'm like, that's David Shire, and I recognized his picture from the vocal selections of "Starting Here, Starting Now." And I went down and we had a lovely conversation.
I heard you sing the first 8 bars of one of my favorite Frank Lesser songs. I can't remember what. And I turned to Richard and I said, "Yes." That was it.
And I remember I was so naive. I introduced myself to you afterwards, and I meant this with I was just totally sincere. And I remember saying, if you guys ever need to hear your song sung by, someone, that I would be so happy to help you guys out by singing your songs. You could hear them sung by someone. And you were like, "Oh, that's really nice." And Richard, you invited me over, and I went over to your apartment, and you taught me like 4 songs. And I come once a week and I practice the songs, just thinking I was helping you guys. And
well, you were.
Yeah, but one day you said there was a knock on the door, and you said, "Here's this is Jim Freiberg, our producer." And I was like, "Is this an audition?" And David, do you remember this? You were like, "Well, you've been auditioning all along," and I had no idea. I thought I was just helping you. I found recently a cassette tape with work sessions from that.
Really?
I did. That's like, you sang the songs for me first. And it was just amazing. Just an amazing experience. One of the things I loved about Baby, though, is it was, I had an amazing part, but it was such an ensemble role, a show. It was just such a great cast. And I am so thrilled to have some of my great friends and castmates here tonight. I want to bring them out now. First of all, he's a Tony nominee. He won a Theater World Award for Baby, and then we were doing Baby. He always said, "I'm not an actor. I'm a writer." And I'm like, yeah. And he is a brilliant writer. He's directed many movies, including Camp. Please welcome my pal Todd Graff. Yay! And she is a 2-time Tony nominee, brilliant, wonderful actress, dear soul. She made a splash on Orange is the New Black not too long ago. Please welcome Beth Fowler.
Yay!
Yay! And another Tony nominated actress and a Drama Desk winner for Baby, the fabulous Catherine Cox.
Yay!
And two-time Tony nominee and Drama Desk winner for Baby, Marty Vidnovic. Yay! I can't believe it. I'm so happy you guys are here. Thank you so much. Wow, it's amazing. We all look the same, right?
Of course.
We do.
We all look the same. We all look alike. Yes.
Hey, you guys, I know we did a workshop of Baby first. So,
Yes.
But how did you guys get involved? What were your what did you have to do for the audition process? Were you auditioning?
I would really be interested in knowing what it was like from your side of the table.
Yeah.
Auditioning for the show.
Yeah. Well, but Beth,
I remember my audition because I was a little annoyed. I went in and I had my usual thing, but I did have my little package with me, but I sang my usual 2 songs and whatever they were those days. And it was to audition for a workshop. But I knew these guys were really good, and I thought, well, it'd be a good thing to do, and just to keep working and making my little contribution to musical theater, So I go in and I sing the 2 songs, and how very nice, Beth. How about, do you have something that I was like? I left that room. I'd sung like 6 or 7 songs. I think I was doing my nightclub. I was going through my, portfolio, pulling things out. I had no idea what was going on, and then got this call right away. We'd like you to come in and be part of this. And somewhere along the line, well, we'll have more to talk about that later. But anyway, do you remember that?
I do not remember that specifically, but I do remember. It is totally consistent with my memory of you that we wouldn't have let you go.
David, do you remember that? Do you remember I mean, who wouldn't want to hear Beth sing 6 songs?
It's like, what is it? It's a reading. Come on, give me a break.
I enjoyed it, but I don't remember where I put my car keys yesterday.
I relate, David.
Catherine, what about you?
I can't remember. I can't remember how I got the reading, but I did the reading, and I knew that they had wanted a gymnast. That was the person
and we got one.
Yeah, yes,
a gymnast, like gymnast as in gymnastics.
Like a gymnast, like in gymnastics. I mean, am I wrong or have I made this up? However, don't. Yeah.
Just imagine, I Want It All. You could have been doing like cartwheels.
I knew they liked me, but I kind of went, shit, I am not a gymnast. And so I thought, and this is maybe just my own memory going back, but I thought that I had said, you could make her, because I'm 5'9", and you could make her a basketball teacher, or so and then all of a sudden I became that. Now this could be a memory that I have made up in my year. I would like to find out from Richard.
Well, I will tell you, the thing about it, Baby is a totally original show that is not based on anything, which is wonderful maybe, but it's also terrifying because actually the people can be anything. Beth and Jim's characters were all sorts of different things. You went through you and Marty were all sorts of things, but you could have been anything. We had no objective reason for you to be a gymnast or you could have been a therapist. You could have been any number of things. And in many ways, the parts became defined by you. You came in, and pretty soon that became the part. And I think that's one of the reasons why there was such a kind of believability in the characters, because there was no sense of distance between the actor and some role they were playing. Actually, it was the other way around. The role became the actor who was playing it. And I think that led to a kind of intimacy that I don't think very many musicals ever have. I always think that Baby is the most emotionally naked show of all. I don't know any other show that invites you to go as deep into who you are. Because it's a musical, most musicals kind of cover that.
Yes.
Baby forces you to go there, and I've always been very proud of that. And I think part of that is that as a result, the character and the actor were pretty much interchangeable by the time we got finished. You weren't somebody else. You were yourself in this circumstance. And I think that's the only way you could have given the performances you were given.
Yeah, I think that,
Thank
you know, I watched as much as I could when I wasn't on stage, and it was such a extraordinary cast. Marty, what was Baby like for you? Do you have any memories of your audition process or the workshop that we did?
Yeah, the workshop. I don't remember a reading. I don't. Maybe I was in a reading, but I remember the workshop, and I remember, really loving it, and things that we did in that were thrown out when we started to rehearse, for the Broadway production.
Mm-hmm.
But my audition, I just remember one. I sang a couple songs, and one of them I just really went over the top and went nuts, and I remember Richard saying like, "Oh, that was interesting," and so I guess I thought, that probably wasn't going to work out, but I guess he liked whatever it was I did, and I'm sure glad, because it's one of my favorite shows ever. And I still do the music when I do my cabaret show. I always put a baby medley, and I got to do a medley because my songs are too short.
I was very excited to work with you, Marty, because I had seen you do the revival of Oklahoma, which was such a good production, and I was like, oh wow, Marty Vidnovic is doing this. We did the workshop for everyone at home. It was quite different. I mean, there was another character. There were lots and lots of changes. There was another actor playing Danny who was terrific. But then it was decided they were going to have someone else for the Broadway production. And I remember sitting, it's the first time I've ever gotten to sit into auditions. And I got to hear all these different Dannys, and, everyone was really, really good. And then this guy, this skinny, just kind of unusual, I don't know, wonderful guy walked in, he opened his mouth, and within 5 seconds, I knew that was my Danny.
So did we, yeah.
Do you remember what you sang?
Well, I assume like you always sang Be a Lion for every show, whether it was appropriate or not.
Right.
So I always sang this Bruce Springsteen song called Meeting Across the River. That is more a monologue almost than an actual song. And it was the only song that I had known by heart. So I imagine that's what I sang. But then I had to go first I had to go to, I assume, Richard, it was Europe. It was a couple of years ago. I can't believe I'm looking at this, at everybody thinking, I am now more than a decade too old to play Alan.
We don't go there. We don't go there, Todd.
Oh my God.
You could fake it.
Todd,
I'm
you want?
not that gonna fake it.
You want? We had to actually cast somebody else who was really gifted, but completely undisciplined. And by the first, as we were approaching rehearsal, it was clear that this guy couldn't sustain the show. So we were casting like a week before we went into rehearsal. It was like right at the last minute. You want to know who you were up against?
Who?
About 8 people came in, maybe 10.
Mm-hmm.
One of them was Dennis Quaid.
Oh my God.
I've heard of him.
Oh shoot, Dennis Quaid could have been.
Oh, man.
I know.
Stars in the House.
Sybil Pearson said, "I don't care if he can't sing." But that's what. But you know who the other one was who came in an audition?
Who?
Aaron Sorkin.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Aaron Sorkin
Peter
had this.
Gallagher. I think I heard Peter Gallagher maybe too.
Peter Gallagher didn't audition for it. I don't think so. He had just graduated from University of Syracuse, and he wanted to be a musical comedy performer.
If they were,
I went and looked up his audition sheet,
What did he sing?
I don't remember what he sang, but he was it was oh gosh, what's the casting guy? Oh, beautiful. Anyway, he said very talented, very green, and so I was. But the second part of that story is my daughter Emily was addicted to The West Wing, right? And so are we. I mean, we had seen the whole series 3 times. She knew all the dialogue and everything. So when the Farnsworth Invention opened in New York, and Lisa Shriver, who was Des McAnuff's assistant, was on the show, I said, "We're going to go to the first performance. We're going to meet Aaron Sorkin. She's going to introduce us to Aaron Sorkin." And so we go to the first performance. We get to the intermission. I go outside, and there's Lisa. I said, "We want to meet Aaron Sorkin." She said, "Oh, sure, come on." She waved him over. He came over, and she said, "This is Richard Maltby." And he said, "Richard Maltby, you're the reason why I became a writer." I got points with my daughter. I can't tell you.
Oh man!
And now, you would think that meant, and I thought it meant, I was so impressed with your writing, I just wanted to do that. What actually happened was he came in, auditioned for the musical, didn't get the part, and when he walked out on the street, he said, "Fuck it, I'm going to be a writer."
Lucky for us.
Are we allowed to say that? I'm going to be a writer.
You know what? As long as I'm hosting, you can say whatever you want.
Oh yeah.
That's not. Hey, Richard. David Katz texted you. So we've been getting some great donations, and I think if you look, Richard, David texted you some to read. If we take a moment, and let me know if you can.
Let me see.
Oh, you're calling me.
No, no.
Richard,
where would it be? Where would it be?
Nothing coming in here.
Okay.
Oh, I got to find out where it is. Talk amongst yourselves.
Okay.
Hey, you all are on Apple computers, aren't you? You're on Apple computers.
Yeah. What are you? Are you on
a Dell computer? That's why my picture is so fuzzy.
Well, you've always been a rebel. You were always your own.
Yeah, well, I don't want to be fuzzy anymore.
Hey, Richard, did you find them?
No. What is this? Oh, wait. Oh, here we go. Oh, here we go.
Okay. You can do a dramatic reading.
I will. Anne from Illinois sent in $20 and said, "Thank you, Liz, and all the guests tonight, plus everyone at Stars in the House. I've been a huge fan of Baby ever since it first came out, especially The Story Goes On."
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Jill from Virginia sent in $77. Abby from New York City sent in $25. Thank you for this in honor of Liz and her first hosting, and especially because it's a baby reunion. So grateful for your performance and chats during this time. Joanna, Adam, Eliana, and Kayla Abrams donated $50. And love you, Aunt Catherine.
Oh my gosh.
Andrea, that's Joanna, Adam, Eliana, and Kayla. I assume you know who that is.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Andrea from New York sent in $25. B and Laura from London sent in $200.
Oh my goodness!
Thank you.
Thank you, Liz, for hosting what will be a great show. Very exciting midweek treat. Love from London. Jeff sent $5. Much love and richest blessing. Oh my goodness. From a friend, $2,060 in honor of Liz Callaway guest hosting tonight. How
Wow.
perfect you are hosting a baby reunion. Always happy to support the Actors Fund, and tonight is no exception. $2,060.
Oh my!
2,000?
Feel like we're somewhere around $2,500.
Oh my gosh.
Wow! Thank you
Yeah.
so much. Oh my God! I'm so
David was saying how happy he was that last night they raised like $3,000, and we're almost
Wow.
there.
wow.
We're gonna beat it. We're gonna beat it. Everybody out there, send it. We got to beat the $3,000.
What was his name again?
It was
That had no name.
friend.
Oh, no name.
friend. And I think I know who that is. And
Oh.
someone who has been very generous to the Actors Fund and just everyone who is donating. It's, it's so, I'm so moved by everyone's generosity in this difficult time.
Wonderful.
It's just fantastic. It's
I
just,
mean,
Yeah.
so many people in the theater, just can't get their next meal. I mean, it's so hard.
I'm lucky I'm old, actually, because I got, my pension now and Social Security.
Mhm.
Well, that's true. But I mean, so many people I know are trying other careers and
Yeah.
trying other jobs, and
I mean, I'm optimistic we're going to come back. I think it's going to take a while. We're going to take in a moment, we're going to take a little break because I want to bring on Dr. LaPook, who is our the chief, our medical expert on Stars in the House and also works for CBS News. But before I bring him out, have you guys, any of you been vaccinated yet?
on
No.
Friday.
Sunday.
Crying.
Sunday.
This
The-
Sunday?
You're
Last
2
Sunday
weeks.
or this Sunday, Catherine?
What?
wow.
Which Sunday? This coming Sunday or last Sunday?
This coming Sunday at
Oh, yeah.
Abyssinian Baptist Church.
Thank you
No,
for
I have-
making me feel young again.
I know, Todd, you and I are too young to get vaccinated. It's like the only time in my life I wish I was older. You know what? You guys, hang tight. I want to bring Dr. LaPook on, and then we'll come back and we have so much more to talk about. So
Great to see you all.
great
Oh
to
my
see you all.
God.
Yeah,
I'll see you shortly.
shortly.
And Dr. John LaPook is the chief medical correspondent for CBS News and for Stars in the House. He has been so amazing these past 10 months now? He's been on so many of the Stars in the House, and I was asked, it's like, should I give him the night off or should I have him come on? And there's so much happening. I wanted to have the opportunity to talk to him and ask him a question or two. So I'm hoping that he's going to come on, and if not, all set with Dr. LaPook. So. Are you there? There you are.
I'm here. Hi, Liz.
Hi, it's so nice to see you.
Very nice to see you. The first link I got was to a blank room, and it's like being invited to a birthday party, and then you get there and they've changed the address for the party. But, and then David gave me the correct link, and so here I am.
Oh, good. Well, I'm so happy to have you here, and I've so enjoyed listening to you and been very grateful for your words of wisdom. I'd love an update, but I have a couple of personal questions for you. One, as everyone here knows, I desperately miss my sister Anne, who is in Arizona, and I'm hoping to maybe make a trip in the next couple of months and see her. I will not be vaccinated probably by that time. Do you recommend for air travel and certain things double masking? What's your opinion on that?
Yeah, we just did a piece on this last week. Funny you should ask. So I spoke to Lindsay Marr from Virginia Tech, who's an expert aerosol scientist. We've seen the merging of the aerosol science with, public health, which has not really happened in a big way before. And she said it's the number of layers. So it should be 2 or 3 layers. Now, you could do that with one mask if it's 2 layers of fabric and you have a pocket in the middle where you can put a filter, like a MERV 13 filter or an N95 type filter, or you could do a surgical mask that goes over and it has that metal thing so it can melt your nose. But the problem is that the sides tend to be a little bit not so tight and the fit's important. So then over that, you can put a tight fitting double layer cloth mask or other fabric mask. So the idea is the more layers, the better. And what Lindsay said to me is, it's really like an obstruction of the virus. It's not like a sieve where you take noodles and you put it in a sieve and the noodles are caught. It's more that, she said, imagine running through a forest where the trees are very densely packed. And if you walk through, you could make your way around. But if you run, you're going to bash into a tree. That's what happens to the virus when you have more layers.
Wow. So is that something that seems new now? Is that something just for air travel?
No. I think period. I think period. And Tony Fauci also said it makes sense. It's hard to do the studies to prove it, right? But the aerosol scientists have done a bunch of things, and the more layers, the better. On the other hand, you don't want to have so many. You don't want to get 20 layers, then you can't breathe. So it's got to be comfortable. And then, there's a lot of people now, including Joe Allen from Harvard, who said, look, why is it in the United States of America that we cannot get N95 masks for everybody? Because at the end of the day, I was on the COVID wards at NYU Langone Health last spring. That's where I'm a professor of medicine. I was in a room where people were coughing their brains out and they had no masks. I just walked in with an N95 and a shield, and I didn't get COVID. I didn't get COVID. So the N95 masks work. The other ones are less successful. So I'm hearing in my clinical practice in the last couple of weeks, people saying, I don't know how I got COVID, but they got it. Where did you go? I went to the grocery store. And were you wearing a mask? Yes. I think the devil's in the details. How tight, how good a fit was the mask? The masks aren't 100%. They help them.
Well, that's kind of scary, but you hear about so many cases, and I've heard of people I know who have suddenly gotten it, and they're so careful.
Yeah.
But so I guess we just have to do more. And
I think it also, just understand it's everything. You're not immune wearing a mask, even if it's 2 or 3 layers. If it's not an N95, they're not perfect. So you do everything. Remember, we've sort of downplayed a little bit fomites, which is, the virus landing on surfaces and you touching it and then touching your mouth, nose, and eyes. But that happens too. So you walk into your house, it's hard to remember not to touch your nose and mouth and eyes. When they secretly film medical students in Australia, they touch their face like 23 times an hour. So the easiest way is to just wash your hands frequently. You get in the house, wash your hands. You've hit the elevator or whatever, you've hit a button. Remember, it's on your hand. So keep your hands below your chin. And
I know people who wash their groceries all over again and after.
Yeah, I think, I think Tony Fauci said to me, you don't want to go down the rabbit hole on that. Maybe you can do a little light sponge off if you want, but basically if you wash your hands,
right,
take it out of the bag, just think about, okay, they come in contaminated. How can I get them uncontaminated? And, just think about washing. And what you don't want to do is put your hand on the bag and then go like that.
Right. And my final question for you is, we have such good news about vaccines. Of course, we have to get the vaccines to everyone. But are all the different vaccines going to be able to combat this new strain?
Such a sophisticated question, Liz, as we expect on Stars in the House.
Thank you very much.
Really, truly. Hey.
A little baby, a little musical theater, and then
a little science, a little music. Okay. The variant that is coming, that was first described in England, in Great Britain, that one seems to be susceptible to the current vaccines. The one in South Africa, the ability of it to sort of, how do I describe this without making it too technical? Basically, there's a cushion. So it's less effective in terms of the neutralizing antibodies that are produced. They go down by about 1/6 in terms of the effectiveness of them. However, they're still effective enough to stop the infection, according to the latest study about this. So yes, there's a diminution. And the reason is that the part of the virus which is recognized by the antibodies and by your immune system, it's gotten a little bit of plastic surgery by these mutations. So the way the immune system works is it recognizes the virus, sees the virus, goes, I recognize you. Boom. Now, if you've had a little plastic surgery, they're not as recognizable. The plastic surgery are the mutations. You change the nose a little bit, you change the mouth, you change the eye. But now, is that Lapook? Is that Callaway? So if it doesn't recognize you, it can't find you. However, it hasn't changed enough so that the immune system doesn't inactivate it. So right now, it's gone down in effectiveness, but it's still high enough to, they believe, stop the infection. Now, it could keep going. So what they're doing with Moderna is they're already thinking about having a booster that is specifically boosting against the new mutations.
Okay.
It's spy versus spy versus spy, if you were a Mad Magazine fan. It changes, we change, it changes, we change. You may need boosters.
All right. Well, just the fact that we know that we may need boosters that's.
Oh yeah, no,
news.
people are studying this. They're all over it. Yeah.
Good. Well, Dr. LePuc, thank you so much for checking in with us and for all that you do. I think we're also grateful to you for your commitment to helping all of us and everyone at Stars in the House. So thank you.
I love talking with you. And wow, what a gang you have tonight.
Oh yeah, these are my pals.
Yeah, they're great. Pals. So I'll let you go back to them. Anyway, I'll see you again. Okay.
They may never let me host again, but if they do, I'll see you. All right, thank you. I just want again, thank you so far for all the donations, you guys. It's you're amazing. If you want to keep them coming, you can go to StarsInTheHouse.com or text Fund 2020 to 56512. I would like to. Oh, I'm getting this. Oh, I have something to read. I have something to read too. I feel like I'm so rude when I look at my phone, but the wonderful David Katz, our tech guru extraordinaire, is texting me things during the show. So I have something to. Oh, I've got some. Yay. Gus and Claire from Illinois, $25. Hi, Liz. It's great to see you on Stars in the House. We are loving it. Great show. Patty from Massachusetts, $103. Thanks to Seth and James, as always. Liz, you are wonderful, and I love this show. Been watching Stars in the House since March, and I wonder if Seth and James know that they have brought together a whole community of people who get together to watch Stars in the House almost every night. Let's hear it for the chat. That is awesome. I wish I could be watching the chat, but then I'd be incredibly distracted. Deb and Toby from Austin, $54. Many thanks to Seth James and Dr. LePuc for keeping our spirits up and giving us something to look forward to each week. And dear Liz, thank you a million times for all that you do for the theater community. So thank you, Deb and Toby. And thank you everyone who is donating. I want to bring back my my cast again. Are you guys, did you have freshen up? Did you have a little cocktail or something?
No.
Oh, that's what I.
We listened to Dr. LePuc. What are you talking about?
Yeah, isn't he? He's fantastic.
I've gotten several texts. Is Dr. LePuc single? Does the virus recognize if you only had injectables, but not the full plastic?
Thank you, Todd.
Yeah.
Thank you. That was funny.
That was good.
That was very funny.
I want to take, I've been trying to, there's so little video, because we were like 1983, 1984. It's hard to find a whole lot of stuff. But David, you know what I'd love to show everyone? The baby commercial. If we could show that now.
It's Baby. Having a vision, I suddenly see it. The magnitude of two people in love. Baby, the smash hit musical. It's daring, it's dynamite, it's funny, and it's fabulous. With the best new songs Broadway's heard in years, raves Frank Rich and the Times. Call 239-6200 for Baby at the Barrymore Theater. It's brilliant, it's Broadway. And it's sexy. Baby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think I ever saw it.
Jim
And
Coffey
it's
was in
sexy. I love it. Catherine, do that for us now. Come on,
Oh,
recreate.
I can't.
I want a body shot. I want a body shot.
I really did that just because I didn't know what else to do.
Yeah.
When I said, and it's sexy.
Yeah, well, you gave it your all. You gave it
did.
your all.
I gave
Great to be able-
Yeah.
It's so great that I could jump like that. I could jump back in those days.
Marty, did anybody call after that commercial and ask if you were single?
Yeah, that you were pretty hot in that commercial, Marty.
Oh, who asked that?
David wants to know if anyone called and asked.
No.
You know,
People came up to me on the street, though. They recognized me from the show.
you know, people. I got when I announced on Facebook that I was doing this, and I have to say, I meant to say this at the opening. When I told people that I was hosting this and that we were going to do a baby reunion, I got in the last 24 hours, so many emails and texts from people who said that the show really changed their lives and that they were, you know, that it just, for many, many reasons, and which was so wonderful to know that people were so excited about this. Someone asked me, so what was with the ad campaign? Because I seem to recall, and you guys can tell me if I'm wrong, that Baby was a hard show to, it was a hard thing to promote because I think we were promoting relationships. You know, that's what we thought. And that was actually a difficult thing how do you do a commercial that says it's about relationships?
The original title that we wanted for the show was Baby, 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 which would have told you that it was basically romantic and sexy and about relationships. Our wonderful PR people said, it's Baby, Baby, Baby is too big to fit on the side of a bus. So,
wow.
So it became all better, which really saddled the show with that kind of image. You know, there have been hundreds of productions regionally in stock and amateur of Baby, and we get posters from some of them, and they're always a stork holding up, delivering a baby, or somebody changing a diaper. They just, you know, it has the exact wrong image. I think if we had Baby, Baby, Baby as the title, we'd have run another year.
Well, I remember when we had a new commercial when we got nominated for 7 Tony Awards, and they shot a new commercial, and it was all. Do you guys remember this? I looked everywhere for it. It was all babies. There was like a big ball, and it was just like cute babies for each like nomination, and it got such an amazing reaction. So I do think that it has something to do with, you know, we didn't, you know, the ad people didn't really know how to what to do with that.
We had people coming up to us who said, you know, our friends dragged us down to see the show, and we thought, okay, we'll go to it. And when they came out, they said, if we had known that this was what the show was about, we would have not had to be dragged down to it.
Yeah, I heard some of that too. Some guy in a restaurant when I was eating, he said, Baby, well, I don't know what that is. What is that, Baby? You know, and I said, it's a great show. It's a wonderful show. But just that title, it confused this gentleman. Like he didn't know what the heck it was.
Yeah, it's like you had to get people. That's why I think word of mouth was really important for this show. And thank God we did the album, because that's how people know, you know, that's how people know the show. And I was thinking, for some reason, I don't remember doing the cast album. I know I was there. I know I did it, but I don't remember it. Todd, do you remember?
I can tell you this much. You were very angry at me.
I was.
Yes, we were having, I don't remember what the fight, not a fight, we never had a fight, you and I, but there was something was going wrong, and I was sick. I had like 102 fever when we did the cast album. And there was a thing going on with something where you were mad at me.
Really?
At least that's what Catherine told me that day.
Oh my God.
Way to go, Catherine.
Really dramatic. Aren't you guys glad you did? Wow.
Very good story.
Maybe I blocked it out.
In 1987, when my first child was born, I was in a gynecologist's department waiting for my, and someone said, "Oh, you're Pam from Baby. I'm so glad you got pregnant." It was very strange.
That's great.
I guess something had to happen with the commercials had to do something, I guess.
Yeah, there is a blurring of lines,
Tell us how Baby changed your life.
What?
Tell us how Baby changed your life.
Oh, how it changed my life?
didn't you meet someone?
Oh, yes. Yes.
Oh, yes, you
Yeah.
did.
You guys, for sure. Baby changed my life very much so, because this guy named Dan went to the first preview of Baby, and he liked what he saw on stage. And then he pursued me during the run of the show. That's like the show ran for like 8 months, right? 7
Yeah.
months, 8 months. And so
We like to say 9.
It
yes,
didn't make
I think
it.
9 would have been perfect.
I always say 9.
He would leave me little notes, he would like, he even actually, he spied on us. We were playing the Broadway Show League. We were playing 42nd
Oh,
Street.
come on. It was he asked me and I told him to go meet you.
So he talked to you.
Joe Allen Restaurant.
Joe Allen, yes, Dan. was
You know,
all my,
Liz Callaway,
all
you're
my
in Baby.
children.
Then I found out he went to everybody.
Okay,
Wait.
yes, he went to everybody.
So,
I thought it was
Oh,
me.
look at Dan.
so Dan was a waiter at Joe Allen during this.
Right.
And I remember, and of course, we all went to Joe Allen all the
Yeah.
time. I used to go there for like in between shows and whatever. And I'd say like, oh my God, there's that guy, Dan. Oh, I just didn't want to lead. He seemed
I
nice,
remember
but I didn't want to lead him on.
You
Catherine,
told me about this guy, and he was such a pain in the neck. And I came in, and I had to walk through Liz's dressing room to get to my dressing room. If you remember that layout there,
yeah.
and I didn't used to sort of knock, but it was, I came back early, and usually she was gone for the whole time. And I walked in on the two of you on the settee, like wrapped around one another. And after thinking, I said, "So don't tell me that was the guy." And she went, "It was the guy."
Yeah, afterwards,
Later.
you guys were all like, oh, and Beth, I know we talked earlier today, and you were saying that you and Catherine were saying, no, I introduced him.
I introduced you.
Yes.
Well, I did.
No, I
Right
didn't
after he
introduce
said-
you. I
Introduce
convinced
you
you
to
to go out.
Callaway.
I convinced you to go out because he was so beautiful. And
He was so nice.
He was such a lovely spirit. And he
Yeah,
said, how
he
can
is,
I get to, and I said, please give him a chance. That's what I did.
You guys, I know I was the youngest in the cast, and you guys were such great cheerleaders. It's like, oh, you have to go out with them, and you have to. And I was so scared. And then, after months of this, I remember he came to the first anthem I did for the Mets on Memorial Day, and you guys were all there. And then I finally went out with him 2 weeks before we closed to tell him, hey, you're a nice guy, but I don't want to date you. And I didn't want to lead him on. I don't know. And
That was smart.
and he and then we just were together we closed 3 restaurants that night. We moved in together 2 weeks later. That's probably when you found us on the settee. And I don't know if, and then of course you guys were all at our wedding.
Yeah,
And Marty, you sang
I sang.
Canis Angelicus, which so beautifully. And Todd, you sang our first dance, I think, which was theme from Tootsie.
Yep.
Right? It might be you. And I don't know if you guys ever heard
Awesome.
Dan, yeah, my mom sung, Anne sang and wrote a song for me. So Dan, by the time from the first preview to the time we closed, he saw the show 13 times.
Wow.
And I don't know, I probably never told you guys this, but about a year after we were married, he got audited. And he was an actor at the time. And so he's going into he's talking to the tax lady, and he's showing all the receipts. And she's like, I see you have 13 ticket stubs for this baby. What's that? And he said, well, as an actor, you have to, see a lot of shows, and it's part of your training. And she's like, 13 times? And he said, all right, I saw the show. I fell in love with this girl on stage, and I kept going back to see her, and we're married now. And she said, okay.
And not only are you Danny and Lizzie in real life, but then you played opposite each other in Baby.
Right.
Marriott, Lincolnshire. Yeah.
Where was that?
At the wedding, Dan sang at the reception. He sang "I Chose Right" to me, and I think Richard, you were directing the production in Chicago, and like you guys should do it in Chicago together. So,
Yeah, it was the longest run they ever had. It was supposed to be like 3 months, and ended up being 9 months.
I've got some more video clips, and I just I want to show the clip from the Tony Awards that I know a lot of, the 1984 Tony Awards. One thing that many people don't realize, even though Baby ran for a long time, we had our closing notice up practically every week. Remember that, you guys?
Yes, I remember it.
We didn't, I can remember on Wednesday matinees sitting in the stage right quick change booth. I forget there was a scene going on during Act 1, and someone would bring in Variety. And this is, way pre-internet. And you'd read the grosses that day, and we'd be like, oh boy, I don't know. I'm not sure if we're going to keep running. And then at the end of the week, they'd put the closing notice away, and we'd have another week.
Yeah.
Salary.
Say that, Beth?
Remember when the 6 of us took our cut in salary?
Yes.
I remember. Cut it out.
We had to take a cut and keep it going.
Yeah, we were on 50% salary cuts for
50%, right?
Most of the show, and then we got.
Can I just bring up Jim, who was Beth's partner, who has passed away?
Yes, I want to talk about.
Hand out tickets, and we would all get out there to hand out tickets at the tickets booth in order to get people to come to the show. He was the big supporter of that, and he would come to all of us and make that happen.
Wow.
Oh, there's the picture of outside the theater. Before we show the clip of the Tony Awards, let's talk about Jim for a minute, because I was going to talk about him earlier in the program, and I just didn't know quite when to bring it up. When I sent an email to all of you, and I wrote to Jim's wife, Sandra, because I had her email address, and I said, I'm doing Stars in the House, and I'm inviting all my baby castmates, and could Jim join us? And she wrote me back and said that he passed away a month ago.
Wow.
And he was such a dear man. And Beth, I mean, you worked with him the closest. Do you have anything you want to say about him?
You couldn't ask for a finer partner in the show.
Yeah.
He was an actor's actor.
Yeah.
He was a gentleman. He was warm. He was giving. He was very intelligent. He parsed everything, but in a very natural way. And he was very supportive. He didn't get rattled by anything. He'd get concerned about things, and then he'd want to solve the problem. And he talked me through so many scenes. I can remember it just was so natural to work with him. You were talking about how we were real people in that show. I was always wearing a bustle on my butt and a feather on my butt. and I wear clothes, but so I had to play a real person, he was the man to play opposite, play a person. It was no work. It was no work. It was just we had this wonderful book and these wonderful songs that were rich in insight, personal reflection, insight, relationships. It was all in the music, the lyrics. And then Sybil's book, I can remember one time Jim and I were handed.
Beth froze.
Yes, handed a new scene. And we looked at, what we would do is we would each read our scene, and then we would read it with one another. So I read mine and he read his, and we read it to one another in character. And we finished, we put the papers down and we looked at one another, and he said, I don't think that in this point in the story that you and I would talk to one another like this. And I said, that's how I feel. And he said, let's go tell Sybil. He looked at the two of us and went, Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I'll go talk to Richard. And they came back and they changed it. I mean, that's and it was just so net. We knew who those people were.
Yeah.
Sybil wrote biographies, handed us biographies at rehearsal.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, I forgot that. Yeah.
Yes. We knew where we were raised and their kids and all that stuff.
Oh,
Quite wonderful. Quite wonderful.
Yeah.
And it was wonderful to take the ride with him. He was
Yes.
man.
Beautiful guy.
I got an email that I actually printed from one of Jim's kids, his son, and he sent it to me, and I thought it was so lovely. And I said, if I'm inspired, would you mind if I read this on air? Because I just thought it was really lovely. He said, Sandra, Jim's wife, shared the information about the live stream Wednesday night. While coincidental, the timing of this will bring great healing and memories for our family as we haven't been able to gather together. I listened to the original soundtrack from Baby Today for the first time in decades. Had a good cry to hear my father singing about fatherhood and hearing him sing The Story Goes On. I was about 14 years old when the show premiered. I remembered seeing a black box theater rehearsal, and I just saw the show on Broadway once or twice. The subject was a little uncomfortable for a teenager, but the music touched my soul and always has. Thank you for sharing this with us. I look forward to watching on Wednesday with my family. Regards, Kenyon Congdon, Jim's oldest son.
Oh, it's wonderful.
It's just so beautiful. And I wanted to, there's a song in the second act of Baby called Easier to Love that Jim did.
Yes.
It's such a beautiful gem, understated, perfect song. And I'm just trying to learn how to do video editing and such, but I wanted to create a little something. So I found as many of the stills and publicity shots from the show. And I just put together this, this little, this thing to add so you guys can all hear Jim sing this beautiful song.
Thank you, Winnie.
So David, if you can play that.
Children tell you everything and give you their whole heart. Your wife tells you everything and blows your day apart. Maybe that's the reason why a child is from the start easier to love, so much easier to love. Children ask you questions and they don't know if the answer's true. Your wife asks you questions she already knows the answers to. No surprise the children are, no matter what they put you through, easier to love, so much easier to love. Anything a child needs, a kiss can make all right. Your wife needs your life. Children want to hear the same story every night. Try that on your wife. Children open up wide eyes and see you as a star. Your wife opens up wide eyes and sees you as you are. That's why from the day they got here, my kids were by far easier to love, so much easier to love, so much easier to love.
Oh,
Beautiful.
that's a gift.
Sandra, if you're watching, I send much love.
Yes.
Yes.
Sandra and Kenyon and everyone in Jim's family, we are thinking of you all. And
I think Sandra's a nurse.
yes. You know, we saw
Jim told me that.
2016, I did a Maltby Shire program for American Songbook at Lincoln Center, and I invited all you guys and Jim, and I hadn't seen Jim in years, and I'm so grateful that we were all together just for that. I think David, I have a sort of a blurry photo we took that night of us. There we are. There's Jim on the far left, and I'm so happy.
Yeah.
So happy that we have that photo and that memory. So
that was beautiful.
Oh, that it was nice to hear him sing that. It's such a great song, and he did it so beautifully.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go back to the Tonys, because I actually do have some video clips that I want to be showing everyone. So as we were talking about, we're on 50% salary cuts, and we didn't know how long we were going to run. And when the Tony nominations came out, and you guys, you tell me if you remember this as well. We got 7 nominations, and suddenly we were filled every night, and people were giving us standing ovations, and it was just great. But my memory is that we needed to win an award in order to keep running. And I thought our best shot was going to be best score. It was a very strong year.
Great score.
La Cage aux Folles, Sunday in the Park with George. It was a really, really good year for musicals.
Wow.
And the number on the Tonys that year was I Want It All. And we were behind the curtain getting ready to do the song. And wouldn't you know, the category of best score in a musical was right before our song. And so I remember Beth and Catherine, we were holding hands as they were announcing, and I didn't make this up, right? I don't think I made this up. And they said, and the Tony Award for best score in a musical goes to Jerry Herman for La Cage aux Folles.
Yeah.
And we looked at each other and we just went, all right, we're going to close. Jerry Herman did his speech, and the curtain rises. David, hit it.
Our second
Man.
musical nominated as the season's best
The
is called
score to
Baby.
be.
3 women meet in a doctor's office. A 43-year-old mother with kids in college who has found out she is pregnant again. A gym teacher who is finally pregnant after 2 years of trying. And a 19-year-old student who is not married.
I can't wait. I can't wait. For a whole lot of years, you might say that I've been expecting. But I always made sure I didn't expect too much. I sat around on my potential. But now that I have heard this news, it's released all these possibilities. And all I've got to do is choose. I want it all. I want it all. I want the whole female experience in a ball. I want it all. I want the morning sickness and the elation. I want every known female sensation. I want to be Scarlett O'Hara, lose, my friends. And there are things you gain, but some you lose, my friends. Some truly lovely things. Like what? Like an overtone of romance, an element of surprise. The things any grown-up practical woman gives up if she's wise. I want it all. I want it all. Rise up to the heights and then up all. I want it all. Don't try to tell me that I can't have my brother. I'll be a mother who is also a mother. I want to know that I can find inside me anyone I need. I want to be John McKechnie, somebody. I want to be Margaret Sanger, Thatcher. I want it all. I want it all. I want to find a way to break through every wall. I want it all. Tahiti. I want a Grammy. I want stretch marks. I want a pedicure. I want Del Pippa. I want a Learjet. I want a string bikini. I want a Nobel Prize. Totem poles out of fruit can. I want it all. I want it. I want it all. I want it. I want it all. To get into this.
A real glimpse into those performances. That's everything we're talking about. Hey, Dee Dee.
Hey, everyone. It's a beautiful wife. Oh, God.
It's glorious.
That was something, wasn't it? It was like from the highest of highs and the lowest of lows to the highest of highs all at once. It was
I
amazing.
got afraid that if that ran another minute, you were going to see me with the tea bag in my ear.
Yes.
Yeah.
I couldn't find a photo of
Unforgettable.
your attire for the Tony Awards, but you did wear a tea bag. God,
did.
that was something. And you guys, it's funny doing I Want It All. There was so many versions of that song. I seem to remember that Richard, you'd come in with another, okay, try this lyric, and every day was a different one.
Not true at all. Not true at all. It was once through and perfect the first time.
Didn't you rewrote a fair amount of the show right after the first day of rehearsal? Didn't we do a table read and then?
Yeah, we did a table read, after which Jim Freiberg said that we'd done a lot of work since the workshop. And he said it's become very dark and kind of sad. It's sort of the show seems to be saying that babies ruin relationships, and because playwriting is conflict. Any good the central piece of any kind of play is conflict. That's what action is. When the issue is a baby, the opposite happens. If there's an issue that comes up and it's a marriage and it's a good marriage, your heart may be saying, I am so unhappy, and your mouth says, I couldn't be happier. It's because you don't blame the issue on your partner. You don't blame the baby. You swallow it and you do something else. So we had been confronting all of the issues, and it seemed to say that if you have a baby, then it ruins your relationship. And we immediately switched back to what was real, which was the babies, that when the issue is a baby, you don't confront, you don't say the things out loud, because you don't want to hurt the person you love, and you guys were amazingly central to it. I don't know you remember that I gave you an assignment to come in on the first day after the workshop in the afternoon. I said, fill up 10 minutes of stage time in your character.
Yes.
With something that isn't something that isn't in the show. It could be something in the show or something isn't in the show, and just do something. It can be with dialogue, it can be pantomime or whatever it is. Just do it. And it was astonishing. What all of you did was you took something that was dark and complex, and you dealt with it with a kind of exuberance, a kind of joy, and I realized that's the central humanity of the piece. When the issue is a child, you don't spill it out. You somehow find something, positive to get you through it. And as a result, the scenes all became these incredibly subtle scenes in which the central issue was almost never touched upon. And it was very daring to do it, but the key came from you. You did it, Beth. You were writing thank you notes after one of your parents had died, as I recall. I don't remember what some of the other ones were, but I just remember that one, and it was amazingly revealing, because what you were showing us was a human truth that opened the door to these people being human beings and not musical theater characters.
I had forgotten about that. I had forgotten, but now I do remember. I don't remember what we all did. I do remember Beth doing the cards, but that was so much of
Jim was like making a brunch. He was making a brunch for Arlene. He was making eggs or something. The only person who got excused from it was Todd, because he was only cast that morning.
I don't know what the hell you're
So
talking.
you just sat there and judged us, right?
No, apropos of what you're saying, Richard, as director, I mean, we've been talking a lot about Richard and David's writing the score, but Richard obviously was also the director, and terrific. And I'll never forget the key direction, Richard, that you ever gave me when I was struggling was you said, just love her. Just remember that whatever happens, you love her, that trumps everything. And it opened up the character to me. It opened up the relationship to me. And I think it's sort of in line of what you're talking about.
Yes. Oh God, I remember that. Hey, while we're on the subject, there's a video I wanted to show of. This is of a song that from the show that Todd and I did, and this actually I don't think had very many changes. I think it was just kind of perfect. It seemed perfect to me from the start. There's only one bootleg copy of Baby, and it's just the quality from the last seat of, I think, the balcony, that it's really, you can't see anything. It's not worth watching. But the concert that I mentioned in 2016, I did my Maltby Shire tribute show at Lincoln Center. Todd flew in from California to be my surprise special guest, and he did this song from Baby, and I thought, don't kill me, Todd, but I thought I would show the video of that. This is What Could Be Better.
I wanted my tanglers. Okay. Yeah.
It is crazy to do it, isn't it?
Yes. What did your mom say?
Mom practiced her creative listening and said she'd understand whatever choice I made.
My mom will cry for a month. She thought that giving up science was irresponsible.
You don't have to have it.
I know.
Wouldn't you like to see it, though? A baby. A real baby. Our baby. Our first collaboration. He'll maybe have my smile and your hair. Who can tell till the baby comes? He'll maybe have my style and your flair and play fabulous drums. Just think, inside me our genes have found their niche. They link, and I'll come one tap dancing kid with perfect pitch. What could be better than your own little clone who'll reproduce all your talents plus a hint of my own? Consider this kid'll be a one-man band if we let her. Your sense of key and my great vibrato, your melody and my obligato. That's what we got. Oh, what could be better than that? Right, Danny? Danny?
I'm thinking. I'm picturing my lips and your eyes.
For a boy, that's a perfect pair.
I'm picturing my hips and your thighs.
That is very unfair.
No, I know no one can predict what bird will hatch. Whoa, 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 whoa. But we're such genetic gems that God can mix and match. What could be better than if our little spawn got all his brains from his dad and from his mom? Got his run.
Oh, funny.
Consider what one tiny mix-up could have. Your button nose and my bushy eyebrow.
You for the low brow, me for the high brow.
Your brow and my brow, what could be better than that? Liz,
I was careful, I swear it, I never forgot it, I don't know how it happened.
maybe it's just that no barrier on earth could resist the vigorous, lashing army of my sperm.
That must be it. Picture a flailing spermatozoan, not even knowing where he is going. What's that ahead? A diaphragm, screw it. He knows he's dead, my God, he slips through it. Suddenly he's alone in the river. Now he must seize the chance to deliver. Rounding the bend, the egg starts to glimmer. Is this the end for our little swimmer? Catching the tide, he sails toward the mystery. Set to collide and change the history. What could be better than a family extension? A genetic duet, a little two-part invention, I say. Consider what we'll have in hand when we get home. So,
Yes.
yes, we're gonna have a baby and not get married. Your sense of mission, my sense of duty. Your disposition, my inner beauty.
Your intuition, my sense of timing.
Your composition, my crazy rhyming. Actually, a taste that's really uncanny. My little ways,
My little fanny, Lizzie and Danny, what could be better than that?
Wow, fun.
it's so fun to see that again. And you know, I did the show again a year later, and Todd flew in again from Los Angeles. And I mean, that's like a true friend. And you guys, what a friggin' brilliant song that is. you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
It really is, isn't it? It's really good.
It's just, you know, I don't know.
Like I listened to it for the first time.
But I don't know if the rest of you feel this way. But I mean, I was so young when I did Baby, but I just thought, oh wow, that's what this is always going to be, you know? I just, and I didn't realize that.
Us old folks knew what we were getting, boy. We had been waiting for it for a long time, some of us.
That makes sense.
One Broadway show. That's what I did. This is the only one I ever did. So I was
Yeah,
spoiled.
then you did films, though.
You nailed
You went into films.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
I left Baby before the end of the run
Right.
to do the movie, and then came back for the Tony Week.
Lon,
Right.
Lon Hoyt.
Yeah.
Lon
Lon
Hoyt,
Hoyt
absolutely.
played Danny then. And that's
Yes.
right. And then you came back for the Tony Awards.
Sure.
God, that was really something. And David Katz, there's a different picture from the show of What Could Be Better when I think I'm pointing. I don't know if you can find it, David. It's the picture of a flailing spermatozoan moment. So I don't know if he's going to be able to bring that photo up. I sent him a bunch. Maybe it's not there, but trust me, it's a really good photo.
Flailing spermatozoa.
That's right.
Spermatozoa.
Marty,
Yeah.
what was your was there one moment in the show that you enjoyed doing the most? Was there something?
I love the scene with Catherine and I when we're in the bed, and the song is With You. The song is With You.
Beautiful.
Because it was such a wonderful song, and what was happening in the show, it turned out that we were trying to have a baby and we couldn't do it, and Catherine was going through all these different things. We were doing all these different things to try to help it out. We're just sitting, lying upside down and all this. And then it turns out that it's me that is the problem. And so I was like a very supportive husband and thinking that I'm, going to really boost her up. And then it was very shattering for me as Nick that I failed. But then, within the song, we came to that, that it's just going to be with you. We're going to be with each other. And, it was just a gorgeous moment.
Yeah.
I always thought that was. I mean, that's the 11 o'clock number in a way. That's the last of the 2-part stories. There's a song, a duet for each couple, and the last one is yours. And I always thought that's the most naked of them all. Both of you had to go to the absolute depths of what your darkest fear about yourself, that you actually had to ask for help instead of being the person who helped, and you, Catherine, had to say, if I had to choose between a baby and you, I will choose you, and I will not look back.
Yeah,
I mean, and to make both of those decisions,
yes,
was so wrenching for each of you, and you had to do that as actors. You had to go there every night, and the fact that it happened in the middle of a song is nice. But I used to watch you every night do that scene because you just had to do it. And
it started out covering up the hurt, and with some jokes.
Yeah.
And which was wonderful, and then finally that broke down, and we got to it,
Yeah.
That's what, we were also lucky. We were also lucky to have incredible partners to work with, and to have the songs were scenes. They were really extraordinary. Right. And as you were saying at the beginning of this, really, the show was about love. It really was about love and relationships, and just hearing you guys talk about it, it just brings back the most wonderful memories. I want to, I do want.
There you go. There's the picture.
Oh, there's the picture. Yeah. Picture of flailing spermatozoan. We look exactly the same, Todd.
Oh, yeah. Well,
oh, yes. And that was
me, I'm 100. You're a blessing.
Yeah,
Oh my gosh.
Two People in Love. That was a scene from that, and that was like our big dance number, which we improvised. We went out dancing.
Yes, exactly, because I can't dance and I never could. And you,
but you did this. You did this sort of cool thing.
But Wayne Salento, our terrific photographer.
Yeah.
I said, Wayne, I can't do any of these things you're asking me to do. I literally can't. I'm a singer who moves. And so Wayne, Liz, and I went out to a club and we went dancing. And he didn't dance, Wayne. He just watched us. And he just watched, because that I could do. I could go to a club and dance. And we came in
I remember
all the things that I did in the club and turned them into choreography.
This was your thing. You did this. That was like how you danced in the club. And then we turned that. And I had the stomach, so it became this pregnant seduction dance. That was one of my favorite. It was
the bump and grind baby.
That's right. I do want to show one more clip, and this is not to make this all about me, but I'm hosting, so. But I had
You're doing a great job too.
Why? Thank you.
Wow.
I had one of the great songs to sing. This was a song that when I would go over to your house, Richard, and work with you and David, before we even did the work, just then, you taught the song to me. And I still sing it to this day in concert, but I've been going through old cassette tapes and VHSs, and I came across a version that I wanted to play for everyone. This is The Story Goes On. And I've never asked you guys before I show it, with The Story Goes On, did the music come first or the lyrics?
David wrote the whole song for something else. It was an existing song.
No.
And I just said, you do not give that to anyone else. That I didn't know exactly what was going to happen, but it didn't have the heartbeat. It didn't have that sort of was added on, but the melody itself was complete. And it was a really tricky job to find that lyric in the music, but I believe that the lyric is in the music, that I have to find it. And,
well, you did. You found it, and it's funny. All these years later, living through a pandemic, the lyrics to The Story Goes On. My mother's mother felt these things, and hers before. It has just such a different meaning to me now. But this is. But I want to show this because on a day off during the run, David and I flew to Los Angeles and did the Merv Griffin show. And this doesn't exist anywhere on YouTube, but I found it. I think my mom had taped it off the TV. And I want you to hear that it has the Merv's intro to it, and it's really staticky, so bear with it, but then it gets a little better. I mean, it's not great quality. But so anyway, this was, David, I think we both forgot that we did this, but this just shows, what a wonderful song it was. And my God, I was young.
It survives the Merv Griffin show. Must have been a great song.
Oh, exactly. All right, David, are we ready for this one?
A new musical has recently opened on Broadway to just about the best reviews I have ever read in my life. It is just simply called Baby, and it's a lovely, tender script with some of the best music composed by David Shire, who won the Academy Award for the song from Norma Ray, who is over at the piano right now. And a lot of the reviews, the great reviews, were given to my next guest, who has taken her one day off from that show, flown all the way out here to sing for you, and then we'll fly right back and be tomorrow night in that show. The song she's going to sing is the song that closes the first act, and the song is called "The Story Goes On." The song describes the moment when a pregnant mother first feels her baby kick. This young lady is extraordinary. Wait till you hear her. Would you welcome the star of Baby, Liz Callaway.
So this is the tale my mother told me. That tale that was much too dull to hold me. And this is the surge and the rush she said would show. Our story goes on. Oh, I was young, I forgot that things outlived me. My goal was the kick that life would give me. Now, like a joke, something moves to let me know our story goes on. And all of these things I feel and more, my mother's mother felt, and hers before. A chain of life begun upon the shore of some dark sea has reached to me. And now I can see the chain extending. My child is next in a line that has no ending. And here am I, full of life, her child will feel when I'm long gone. And thus it is, our story goes on. And on, and on, and on. And on and on and on and on and on. And all these things I feel and more, my mother's mother felt, and hers before. A chain of life begun upon the shore of some primordial sea has stretched through time to reach to me. And now I can see the chain extending. My child is next in a line that has no ending. And here am I, feeling life that her child will feel when I'm long gone. Yes, all that was is part of me, as I am part of what's to be. And thus it is, our story goes on and on and on and
Liz Callaway from the hit Broadway show, Baby, with music by David Shire.
Yeah!
Wow. Every time you sang that in rehearsal, I was sat on that floor with everybody else. We were dismissed. We were whatever.
Yeah.
We were in the scene. You sat there and you listened to Liz sing that song
Oh,
through the day.
that
And
brings
you nailed it, and you quelled every single time.
oh,
The
it
first
amazes
Reedsburg, you did it sitting at the table. My head
Are you
exploded.
kidding? Oh God,
Unbelievable.
I couldn't do that now. You know, the thing is, looking at that, I'm so glad I found that because it doesn't exist on YouTube.
We are
Wow.
And I will put it on YouTube, but it's like one of the lost episodes of the Merv Griffin show. But I go, oh God, it looks so easy, you know, and it just was like, what a gift to have that song. It was a gift. And so, I mean, Richard and David, you know, I owe so much to you guys, and to have a song like that. I'm just forever grateful to you guys. I have some.
That's a two-way street, by the way.
Thank you. I have some more donations to read before we call it a night. Blair from California, $50. I first fell in love with Beth Fowler in Brigadoon at the Grist Mill Playhouse in Andover, New Jersey back in the 60s. I've been following her fabulous career ever since.
Oh, thank you. Oh my God.
Thank you,
I was still
Blair.
teaching school then.
Oh, yes. That is something a lot of people don't know, that Beth Fowler was a school teacher, right?
No, I didn't know.
And,
For 10 years.
Yes, and then
How
you
long?
did one of your first Broadway shows that was a little night music.
Yeah.
Christine from Illinois, $20. Liz Callaway, you were my vocal idol growing up. Thank you, Richard and David, for the gift of this show and for inspiring me to this day. Scott Kane, $25, because Liz is awesome. Thank you guys so much. You know, before we call it a night, while I have my reading glasses on, I wanted to acknowledge some of the other people in our cast, because it was a fantastic ensemble that we all got to work with. And I know some of them are watching tonight, and I want to just give a shout out to Kirsty Carnahan, Barbara Gilbert, Philip Hoffman, Lon Hoyt, John Jellison, Lisa Robinson, Judith Theogard, the late, great Dennis Warning.
Yes.
Dennis, I remember I visited Dennis in the hospital right before the rehearsal for the Tony Awards. He was one of the first people I knew actually to die of AIDS.
Mhm.
And he was the most wonderful guy. And he
So
actually
funny.
very, very, he also encouraged me to date Dan, but he used to stand in the wings. He used to stand in the wings every night during Story Goes On, and he would watch, and I'd come off, and he'd say, "You feeling okay today? You have a cold or something?" But he
was so funny. He was so
He was
funny.
the funniest guy. Just a few more names then. Those for the originals, and then the wonderful Susan Goodman and Michael Bryan and Joel Warfield and Elena Warren Zachary. I just want a shout out to those guys. Kim Criswell, who was with us at the beginning, and the wonderful Peter Howard, our late great Peter Howard, our conductor.
Jonathan Tunick.
Who was up stage? Remember the
Jonathan Tunick.
Yeah, it's Jonathan Tunick, his incredible orchestrations, and our wonderful, wonderful.
And I'd like to give a shout out to our producer, Jim Friedberg.
Yeah, Jim.
Yes, Jim is one. I invited Jim to come on tonight, and he's home watching.
And Sybil.
He
Follow
fought
him on Instagram.
years to get the show on, and he practically got down on his knees to beg the Schuberts to finally give us the Barrymore. And without him, this show might have never gotten on.
I know he did get down on his knees. He went in and he said, he said, no, literally, we went to Bernie Jenkins. And he said, I have my entire life on the line on this show. You have to give me a theater. And Bernie, who was very susceptible to that, gave us one of his prime theaters, which is the Barrymore.
Well, I think
David, I just want to say thank you, because my wedding song was "I Chose Right," sung to my husband, who is becoming an American citizen this Friday.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Congratulations. Yes, in fact, we were originally, I was scheduled to do this on Friday. And Todd said, you'll never, the one time that anyone has plans. I was like, oh my God, that's amazing. So
They didn't reschedule for this. I don't know.
No, I understood. So a thank you to Christine Petty, who also was supposed to host, and she and her guests all switched. So they're going to do Friday. She's going to guest host on Friday. I want to thank all of my great friends. I love you guys so much. Thank you so much for coming on, and so wonderful to share these memories with you all. Everyone out there, thank you so much for supporting the Actors Fund.
Yes, thank you.
And tuning in. And for those of you who've been, cheerleaders of Baby for all these years, it means so much to all of us. So good night, everyone. Stay safe. And hopefully we'll all be together in the same room together soon.
Yes. Love you.
Thanks, guys.
Good night, everybody. Love you so much.
Love you. Good night.
Good night.
Good job, baby.
My family always joked about the boy that they got. And though we laughed, I always kind of believed it. Then I met you and found that, boy, I was not. Set out to be a girl and almost achieved it. But to confirm that this is truly my love,